When did your eyesight completely give out on you?
In about a week before my freshman year in high school. So I was diagnosed with this rare eye disease, retinoschisis, juvenile retinoschisis. Probably about four. My dad started noticing that I wasn't tracking, like my eyes weren't tracking when he would like throw me a football or something like that. And so that led to a bunch of doctor visits all around the country, and finally stumbled upon the like part of Mass General is, I think it's called Mass Eye and Ear, and they had this retinal specialists, and this doctor, Dr. Brockhurst, he diagnosed it as this rare disease, and he said there's no cure, and you will be blind, unfortunately, by an early teenager. My response was just to block it out and deny it, and to reject that proposal. But whether I liked it or not, I lost a lot of sight all through middle school, and I remember a week before freshman year, it going to the point where literally I couldn't take a step. Like I couldn't take a step in front of me, and I didn't know what I was going to do. It was like getting hit in the head with a baseball bat, because doesn't matter how many times people warn you and tell you get prepared. You're not ready.
So you talked about how when you got that initial diagnosis, you blocked it out. What was the process like of finally coming to acceptance with that darkness, both from a literal sense, but also a figurative sense?
Yeah, no, I'd say you're right. It's a lot of darkness at that time. Just feeling, teenagers and kids feel like they're alienated already. You feel isolated, and so I felt like that. Like I felt like it was just me on this island, and the bridge between me and the world had broken, and I didn't know how to handle myself. I didn't know how to see myself. I didn't know how to see other people and their relationship to me. I felt like like an egg, that like a rotten egg that had been like squashed in the hallway, and people were kind of walking around me like, how do I deal with this guy? And it was partly because I was so uncomfortable with myself, right? And that reflects on other people. So because I was so like, it was so new and raw, and I was so hesitant. I think that made me, believe it or not, more isolated. But I remember sitting in the cafeteria and just listening to all the excitement and laughter and joy and like food fights, honestly. And all the kids are over there having fun and joking around, and I'm sitting at this table, by myself and listening to life go by. And so for me, that was a great fear. Like I wanted to be in the action. I wanted to be in the adventure. And so I didn't know how to get back, how to break through that brick wall. I guess over time, things heal, right? That anger, you figure out how to channel it. You figure out that there are some doors open for you still. I joined the wrestling team. I remember tapping my long white cane down the hallway after school one day. I'd heard that blind people could wrestle, and the captains of the team invited me to come out and try out. And I tapped down the hallway and went to that stinky wrestling room that smells like nasty sweat socks. And that team became my absolute family. My community, just the glue that held so many things together for me, because I could compete with people. I could be a part of a team. Blindness was a part of my life, but it wasn't the biggest part. There were things bigger than me and my problems, and that was the team. And so that felt great. And that's always my advice to people who are going through loss: go out and join something, become a part of something that's bigger than you, that you can kind of give your soul to that thing.
So wrestling helped you find that community with other people and build that relationship with others. How did climbing allow you to build that internal relationship with yourself?
Climbing was another kind of breakthrough for me. I couldn't participate back in the 80s, by the way. Like schools tried to do a good job, with their disabled kids, but it was a newer thing, kids who were blind being mainstream. So they didn't know how to quite handle when everyone's playing baseball and basketball. I couldn't do that. So they would have me go in and lift weights and things like that. I could run on the treadmill, but I missed out on ball sports. So my dad heard about this program for the blind, this recreational program. And it was out of the Carroll Center for the Blind in Massachusetts. And my dad would drive me from Connecticut 3 hours once a month to this place where we would leave and embark on these adventures. Um, Tandem biking, sailing, canoeing. There was like a ropes course, I think I remembered. We went fishing. Might have mentioned horseback riding. But anyway, they took us rock climbing in New Hampshire, North Conway, New Hampshire. And it was these beautiful granite uh, faces, domes. And I was a good athlete. I was like fit from wrestling. I was a thin little muscly guy. And I remember just scampering up the face and thinking, this is so beautiful. So like, I don't know, like in a way, like free to use my hands and my feet as my eyes and problem solve my way up the rock face, and just absolute engagement, against the rock, and trying to figure out the patterns in the rock as my hand swept across the face, trying to get your body from point A to point B, with these crazy like body positions. It was just so engaging. It was so fun. And then I got to the top, and it was like, I thought, like, I feared that like the adventure of my life might be over, like in the cafeteria, just worrying that like I'd be on the sideline my whole life. And I got, like 100 feet up, and I sat in this little pocket in the rock, and I was starting to learn as a blind person how to use echolocation. There's an expert who calls it flash sonar. It's basically listening to sound vibrations move out into space and bounce off of objects. And I was listening to the valley below me, and I could hear the trees and the leaves blowing, and I could hear kind of life down in the valley below me, and I was way up high, and I just thought, this is adventure.